Despite what some cartoon animators and film directors seem to think, you cannot swim in the weightlessness of anti-gravity to get around. Every action has an equal but opposite reaction, and apart from the artificial atmosphere, there is nothing to swim through. If you find yourself free-floating without a drift and without footing, then you're basically out of luck until someone or something comes along to give you a rebound. So, I hung helpless in mid-air. Willing but unable to press on, I spent the next hour in a barless cage as the hunger twisted inside of me and the fever diminished my sense of space. Even if I had decided to accept my fate, I wouldn't have found the peace and comfort for which I had hoped. The medical ward was less than 50 meters from me. Before I lost the flashlight, before weightlessness made the concept of direction completely useless and abstract, I could even see the door, even crippled by a shattered ankle, a slashed foot, a blaring fever, and a retching gut. I could have crawled the rest of the way if only I could have pulled myself together for a few more minutes. Nothing was stopping me, and now that I wanted nothing more than to make the effort, I was literally stopped by absolutely nothing. I couldn't help but laugh at the irony. Moments after the thought came to me, so did my salvation. I heard the slow, approaching groans. Right before the sign above the medical ward mysteriously flickered to life, the dim glow showed me the way. And it lay just beyond another broken cadaver drifting towards me with outstretched arms. I never expected such a gruesome sight to give me relief. Granted, I would have preferred it to be some inanimate object, but at that point, I would have accepted anything close enough to my body weight. Before the distance closed completely, I planted the sole of my somewhat good foot firmly onto its face and pushed with all the strength remaining in my leg. The kick sent the monster flipping backwards with an arc of blood spouting from its shattered nose, and it gave me just the momentum I needed to find a handrail along one of the walls. As my foot met its face, as its lip rose to smear my foot with rotten wetness, as its teeth grazed and stung the edge of my wound, a yellow feeling of doom crawled over my skin. Whatever lack of comfort it had provided, I had subscribed to this experience as an unpleasant delusion. With that physical contact, that change of momentum, it all took on a new level of chilling tangibility. I landed on my broken ankle, and it was the worst pain I had ever felt in my life, but I ignored it. I couldn't let anything stop me. I had to keep moving slowly, carefully. I pulled myself hand over hand along the rail, ducking and dodging the vague silhouettes of hands and feet ever closer to the sign's hope-giving light. I collided with several of the bodies around me along the way, and the impact threatened to throw me from my hold, but I persevered. After several short minutes, a mental eternity, I managed to reach the medical ward portal, but I wasn't close enough to trigger the motion sensor airlock. Still clinging to the handrail, I flailed my legs towards the space before the door, hoping to evoke some sort of response. The door creaked and groaned against ages of rust, lurching open ever so slowly. It only managed to spare a meter-wide gap before it failed, but it was enough. One final struggle, I squeezed and slid through the thin opening and found the medical ward far more welcoming than I had anticipated. Not only was it built for ease of access to all systems by way of anti-gravity hand grips, but also had its own backup generator. After all, a power failure during a critical operation would have been catastrophic. The generator clearly wasn't in pristine condition as indicated by the portal's mechanical failure and the dimly blinking lights overhead, but again, it was enough. I scrambled about the room as quickly as I could, gathering surgical tools, antiseptic, anesthetics, a suture kit, and sanitation supplies. I strapped myself at the waist to one of the beds, then took a series of long, slow, deep breaths in preparation for the first step. Before I could take care of anything else, I had to reset my broken tibia. I injected a number of numbing agents around the laceration, cupped my hand over the exposed bone, bit down on a folded towel, and braced for the worst. I moved the bone as slowly as possible, trying my best not to pinch a nerve or rupture a blood vessel. Each slight push or pull was agony, and I shouted through clenched teeth into the muffled towel. Finally, with surprising ease, the exposed bone slid into place beneath the skin with a wet crunch and a spurt of blood. As my ankle righted itself and my foot awoke with a sudden circulation, my jaw fell slack with a deep grunt of both pain and relief, and I fell onto my back against the cold sheets. I had hoped that whatever was left of my constitution would be enough to withstand the trauma, but I should have known better. As I lay there light-headed and fading fast, the world spun around me in an amorphous blob of color and darkness. I turned my head towards the gap in the portal door, and I could see a knot of rotting arms and fingers reaching through, the now familiar moans echoing from beyond. For a moment, I thought I saw my son's sweet face amongst the collective shadow. And then she appeared. The other. The it. She stood at my bedside and smiled down at me, staring through me once again, those cold gray eyes. She leaned in, her face close to mine in an eerie, intimate, near kiss. She spoke softly. Only 2 words. Come home. I passed out.